Ladies and gentlemen, truth be told, I'm proud of you all, man. I'm very, very proud of you all. Africans all around the world, in diaspora, at home here, wherever you're from, as long as you are black skin, man, you guys are the very best I've ever seen. Most especially this generation, both some of the old people, the young majority. Goodness, you guys are the best. I never ever believed that Africa, black people all around the world could be so united, right? This is the biggest united front I've ever seen from African people. So ladies and gentlemen, because of this, I want to say congratulations to you all. And just because of that solidarity that you choose to do voluntarily, I want to say God bless you for doing that, right? So, we talked earlier about what was going on between the United States and Burkina Faso. Now, General Michael Langley is now beginning to say good things about Burkina. But, I smell rats. I won't lie to you, I smell rat. But I might be right, I might be wrong, right? So, progressively, I think talks are beginning to happen, right, from both sides. So now, the United States envoy actually visited the foreign minister in Burkina Faso. Now they came to Ouagadougou, right? And some things were said, right? But there is no definitive stance from Ouagadougou right now. There's no definitive stand from Africa. So I would like to get your opinion on what you feel about this, right? So the United States has been said to reduce its military in Africa amid growth of Russia and China in the region. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what to say about this, but General Michael Langley said some things that were related to this in one press conference like that. I want you guys to listen to it.
What would America, perhaps Africa, be prepared to do? Would you be considering an ouster like we saw with Muammar Gaddafi in Libya? Because there's still many Africans who are yet to recover from that. If this is a bigger threat, as you say, in Burkina Faso, what is Africa prepared to do about it?
We do indications and warnings. There's a number of activities that we do, and we'll just go ahead and mention building institutional capacity. There's not going to be U.S. boots on the ground. Very, very small for exchange of ideas and training, exercises. Over time, that builds institutional capacity and capability in these armies. There, AFRICOM, we are working towards a burden sharing and a burden shift for their independent operations. That's our goal. We have the shared objectives because these same terrorist groups can threaten our homeland. So we're in concert. I was just an African Lion over in Morocco. A number of countries working together to be able to...
Is Burkina Faso invited here today for this conference?
Yes. Yes. They were invited to African Lion in Morocco. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Like I said, we're moving forward.
Okay.
We're moving forward because we have that shared goal of defeating terrorism.
I want to ask a question. Definitely we know that China has a big influence in Africa, but is Russia beginning to gain some foothold in Africa? Ladies and gentlemen, let's watch this video. That's it, right? I think someone is beginning to understand that the militarization of Africa is no longer working, right? Somebody is beginning to understand that mutual respect and diplomacy is the best way to deal with people, right? It's not like you want to be bossy, you want to, like, this is a different generation. And it's not the older generation of Africans that are really, repelling you guys. It's the young Africans, the future of Africa, that are saying that, no, we know you better than our old men and old women. They know you. so unfortunate. I used to grow up in a place where my dad would wake up in the morning and would say things like, God bless America. But for my country, I've never heard anything like that. By the way, that was by the way. So the United States calls for restoration of mutual trusts. Look at the word trusts. Can anybody trust those people? That's a question for another day. With Burkina Faso, Ouagadougou, right? The United States now is now asking for a mutual trust, a mutual relationship that will be built on trust with Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso. But ladies and gentlemen, the question is, why is Burkina Faso gaining so much traction in the global geopolitical space right now? Why Burkina Faso? Why? Right? Burkina Faso. They've not even spoken to Mali and Niger. Why are they talking to Burkina Faso? I don't know what type of influence. And if you look at the map, right, Burkina Faso is the smallest of the country. Will Stevens, emissary of the United States President Donald Trump, pleaded on Wednesday for restoration of trust. The envoy of the United States Under Secretary of State for West Africa, Mr. Will Stevens, said it came to renew the U.S. desire to rebuild solid cooperation with Burkina Faso. Can that be built? We never can tell. So he said, and I quote, I came today with a message from the President of the United States, Donald Trump, wishes to work together to build a pragmatic relationship based on mutual respect and respect for each country's sovereignty. We can collaborate with each other, work together to face challenges and improve our relationship. Ladies and gentlemen, is this possible? With the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the aim was to explore different areas and opportunities for cooperation and solid relationship between the two partners. But ladies and gentlemen, I gotta say something. When did we become partners? Like, we've never been partners. Let's establish that. You don't like us, we don't like you. So don't call us partners. We are not partners. We've not agreed on anything. So with several prospects for cooperation, including the strengthening of trade relationship and cooperation of the security front. And the Burkinabe foreign minister said, as Burkinabe, as Sahelians, and as Africans, we want mutual respect, respect for our sovereignty. Africa is a continent like any other. We want change of outlook and reading. That we understand each other, that we avoid frustrating speeches, build our relationship on an egalitarian principle. The head of the Burkinabe diplomacy suggested to his American envoy, while welcoming the fact that Donald Trump administration is beginning to understand this vision. Do they understand, or this is just some decoy? Ladies and gentlemen, on security issues, Minister Traore expressed regret that in this contest, certain countries, including the United States, based on principles of refusing to acknowledge the realities on the ground, prevent countries suffering from terrorism from acquiring war materials and equipment. In response to this, the United States Deputy Assistant Secretary of State in the office since January 2025 promised to personally invest in unblocking this situation and to enable significant progress in the fight against terrorism, its financing in the sub-region. Asking how he reacted to General Michael Langley's comments on Burkina Faso, which have sparked strong reactions around the world, most especially among Africans. The American envoy suggested that he was there to send a positive message, to restore mutual trust, and to stimulate a new dynamic of cooperation between Ouagadougou and Washington. Whew. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I gotta say this, right? How do you feel about this message? To me personally, I don't really trust anything coming from the United States. Why? Because from history, we have seen that anything coming from the United States cannot be trusted. Even when they make promises, when they sign agreements, they can choose to break the agreements. Like, they are not people that you can take for their words. The United States is a country where words are not honorable. Let's establish that as a fact. Men lie, women lie, but numbers don't. We've seen these people break promises time and time again. Like, we've been in several situations with these people where you just know that these people cannot change, right? So if we are more comfortable with our Russian partners, we are okay with that. Burkina Faso can feed itself, right? When you take food out, and when we need like military, equipment, we can easily get it from Russia. We can get it from China. We can get it from Turkey, right? There are a lot of countries where we can get from North Korea. Like in Namibia right now, Namibia has a very strong diplomacy, if not the strongest diplomacy, with North Korea Republic. So Africa is beginning to decolonize themselves. This is an internal thing, not like anybody spoke for Africa. A lot of people just looked at, we just check back to history, right? Based on things that have happened. And we're in the era of the internet. This is no longer the era of the deceptive mainstream media where they tell a lot of lies to people to try to twist narrative. We don't live in that era anymore. Everybody is informed, right? So we are looking at you guys for what you are, not what you tell us, right? You actually called out Ibrahim Traore. You tried to destroy him. You tried to denigrate him. You tried to taint his image, but you saw that the resistance was even greater than you ever thought. You exchanged your credibility for his own publicity. That was what happened. I believe that a lot of people did not even know about Ibrahim Traore until General Michael Langley actually called him out and said he was using the country's resources to protect his junta regime. And the response you guys got from there was just outrageous. And to me, I felt like that was where the United States exchanged their credibility for his publicity, to a point where this whole Ibrahim Traore movement actually exposed the mainstream media as being a whole body of lies, right? And I just feel like it's all bad for you guys right now. Like, it's all bad for the United States right now. That the United States is sending their envoy. These are the words of Donald Trump. We don't really, like, we take it with a pinch of salt. It doesn't really mean anything to us, actually, because we've been here before. We've been here during the time of Muammar Gaddafi. We've been here during the time of Kwame Nkrumah. Africa has seen a lot of betrayals. You understand? Thomas Sankara, Patrice Lumumba, and people don't change. That's what we've learned from history. Bill Gates once said Africans are deplorable. They don't have any economic essence to the world global economy. But Africa is proving that it can stand on its feet. So stay where you are. You've recently banned Africans from going to the US for study. Stay where you are. We don't even need the US embassy in Burkina Faso, to be honest with you, because what I feel about it personally, I feel like US embassy in Burkina Faso is like opening a portal for the enemies. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to get your opinion in the comment section below on how you feel about this development. Do you think we are moving too fast? Do you think this is too early? Do you think we need to hold on a bit and be like, what are these people trying to do? I just want to get your opinion in the comment section below. So ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy 72 Andrade signing out. No say, but before I go, you already know what it is. See you on the next video.